Choosing to be America last in 2026 is like investing in Blockbuster. Folks, welcome back to The Narrative with me, your host, Vrillium, the host with the most and the most botted replies. Folks, big conversations happening today. Folks, it is Attack of the Clones. It is Attack of the MAGAslop influencers. Now, before we get into the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified every time I make a new post. I mean, come on. All that. You know the drill. Now, folks, we start our story off today with, honestly, a classic. Someone who predates me by several years and yet somehow has made himself more and more irrelevant with every passing day. I'm speaking, of course, about one John Doyle, everybody. Oh my God. John Doyle. What can be said for John Doyle that hasn't already been said for Bill Maher? John Doyle is a Blaze TV host. He hosts a show, The John Doyle Show. Formerly, he was the host of Heck Off Commie. Oh my God. I'm not going to judge Heck Off Commie. It's a stupid name. It's cringy, but it was like 2019. So I don't, maybe that was funny back then. I don't know. At least they changed that. Okay. John Doyle. He made waves on X yesterday after a clip from his most recent episode was posted directly calling out America Firsters. And specifically, he was calling out America First influencers, America First content creators, which made me think, wait a minute, that's me. That's Vrillium, among other people. And so let me note, I have been called out by Doyle before. Like I think like a month ago, he did a whole bit on me, which granted, it was the same shit you get from all of these people. He's a Democrat plant. He's a cross-dresser. The whole nine for his boomer audience, okay? I didn't pay it any mind because I only really pay criticism mind if there's a point to it, and if I can maybe learn something from it, or if there's a real conversation to be had. Clearly, there was no real conversation to be had there, which, honestly, that's kind of how you could sum up the John Doyle Show. Yet, this is a real conversation. Let's take a look at the clip and see what John Doyle has to say, and see what people have to say.
Is it true, or is it not, that things are actually moving in the right direction? So you're saying everything's perfect? Let me repeat myself. Is it true, or is it not, that things are moving in the right direction? Is it true or is it not that we've had net negative migration for the first time in our lifetimes? Is it true or is it not that we used to articulate that 10 years ago as a win condition, 5 years ago as a win condition? Is it true or is it not that we have gutted anti-white discrimination at the federal level? Is it we have spent literally hours reminding people how many victories we are racking up, and it's not perfect. Military involvement in Iran. I don't like that. That's a point for you. You can have that. Does this have potential to be very bad? Of course. Yeah, we have talked about that. As of now, does it seem to at least be going like maybe about as okay as it could given the situation? Like, yeah, probably. That seems to basically be the case. So my point is not that we have to be satiated. My point is not that we just have to accept this as good enough and take no further issue with literally anything. Like I am very aware of the words that I say and the meaning that those words convey. Like when I say that I believe Donald Trump will save the world, I'm very aware of how grand of a task that is. I'm very aware of how incredible of a task that is. I promise you, I'm quite aware of the scale. But my point is that this is the only thing that achieves. Helping the bad guys. All of this content, all of this stuff, this evidence-based conversation. Great. I think that I love that for you, that you get to talk about ideas for the first time in your life. What is the actual effect of that politically? That's why I'm here. I don't know about why you're here. Why is this content promoted everywhere? Why is there a perfect overlap between these talking points coming from these people and the talking points of the Democrat Party and their people? Are these people on your side? Are you a fucking idiot? Are you stupid? Are you like a stupid person? These are the same people who celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who, whatever your thoughts are on Charlie Kirk, guess what his thoughts were on you? He believed he was working for you. He believed he was fighting for you. He believed that he was risking his life every day. He was risking whether or not his children were going to be able to spend Christmas with their father. He risked that every day for you. That's what he thought he was doing. These are the people who would confiscate your children if they believed that you weren't so punctually picking up their HRT prescription from CVS. These are the people who, as a matter of policy, allow our women and our children to be raped and killed, our elderly to be abused and murdered in the streets while walking home from the grocery store. These are the people who are materially responsible for everything bad that has ever happened ever. Oh, well, the Republicans didn't do anything. I know that, But also, why is that important? Let's think. Why is it important that Republicans didn't do anything?
Okay. What the fuck? I know they didn't do anything. Pack it up. Pack it up. Come on, John. I know they didn't do anything. Dude, what? Listen, I don't go for people's appearances because that's lowbrow shit. You can see him sweating. Like, this is the level of MAGA cope that we are at currently. You can see him literally sweating. And if they have what I have, which is kind of industry standard, an Amarand big softbox, not that hot. So he's not sweating from the lights and the cameras. He's sweating because the Trump administration fucking sucks. He's sweating because he knows, like, this grift, it's not working. This grift is not working. Every argument he makes sounds so stupid. Like, net zero migration for the first time in our lifetimes. Yeah, because like all the migrants are scared to come in, but once Trump's out of office, that taps turn him right back on. They didn't build a fucking fence. They didn't build a wall, okay? There's just this perception that's been created in media, largely by liberal media pundits, that ICE is roaming around like these Gestapo death squads. Once that notion goes away, they're gonna come right back in, because no actual measures have been taken to ensure that any of the shit this guy just mentioned lasts longer than the next, 3 years. He knows that. The guy's literally sitting there sweating his ass off, horrified at this, because he knows, fuck, I made the wrong choice. What do I mean by made the wrong choice? Clearly, this wasn't the only option for Doyle. He could have avoided this entire fucking thing. Him and the rest of these MAGAslop influencers could have avoided this entire fucking thing. Folks, today I want to introduce you to the Boomer Slop cinematic universe. X is not real. Let me note that after Donald Trump was elected in 2016, Twitter became a very political platform, and it became the platform where politics happens. And even today, politics still happens on Twitter. There is real stuff that occurs there, but the vast majority of it is not real. And the vast majority of the shit that you get from influencers isn't real, meaning that it's paid for by somebody, whether it be influenceable or the press office in the White House that tells these people what to post. I mean, there is very, very large networks that exist, both outside of the government and in the government, ensuring that influencers say certain things to you to create a narrative. I've spoken about this before. I've talked about influenceable. I've talked about all this stuff before. It's why the show is called The Narrative. It's because the narrative is something that you can craft. Like, you can make it up. It's not a real thing. And Twitter is not emblematic of the actual conversations happening in the real world or happening especially with young people in politics, because that is what people want to grasp. The power of the youth vote, the power of youth politics. This has been a political reality for decades at this point. And it's clearly been figured out by all political actors that the way in which people consume their news now is via influencers. Nobody trusts the talking heads on Fox or CNN. I don't have fucking cable. I don't know anybody who has cable. No one's watching the news via the newsreel, the news feed. People, they're getting their news now from influencers because it comes through a perspective that they like. It's a lot easier to hear bad news from somebody who agrees with you than it is to hear it from the cold and callous face of a news pundit who you don't actually know. And so influencer news dissemination, this has been widely adopted by government actors. People like Doyle here and his compatriots, they are a wing of that. They are the full expression of that. That is their gig. If you take a look at the corner, little bottom right corner in this clip, you can see Blaze TV logo. Blaze TV obviously owned by one Glenn Beck, pro-government actor. I know this because I know several people who work in production at Blaze TV and worked for Blaze TV, and all of them say that Blaze TV operates at a large deficit, meaning that they're not profitable. Their money isn't coming from Blaze TV subscriptions, okay? It's not fucking 2016 anymore. Their money is coming from interested donors. It's coming from people giving money and saying, hey, can you disseminate a message for me? And right now, the government is on high alert because they've effectively lost everyone who is not like a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA, QAnon, Pizzagate boomer idiot or some like weird philo-semite, evangelical Protestant cult that exists in middle America. And so these influencers are working overtime. What's honestly funny, well, I don't even know if it's funny. It's honestly just kind of fucking sad. A lot of these guys are new to this specific game. They've been around for a while, but this specific game, they are new. This is because John Doyle predates this by years. Just like his contemporary Patrick Casey, both Doyle and Casey were close allies of Nick Fuentes. I don't like talking about Fuentes too much, okay? Because any fucking time anything happens with me, what is the first thing people go to? He's a Groiper general. That's Vrilliam, the Groiper general. He's Fuentes' top fucking guy, Fuentes' sleeper agent. Mind you, the reality is I met Nick Fuentes one time for 30 seconds outside of the New York Young Republicans gala.
Slap me across. Kevin Smith just slapped me across
TikTok.
Will, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. What's going on?
To which I was very starstruck and didn't say much.
Will, nice to meet you.
According to them, top guy. According to them, we're on the phone every day. I'm giggling, kicking my feet, talking to him every day. He's calling and checking in. I'm his top fucking guy. Now, what's funny is that someone like Doyle actually was a Groiper general. Someone like Casey actually was a self-described Groiper general. I'm not. I met the guy one time. These assholes were, like, actually. And with the recent insane success of America First, of Groiperism, of whatever, everything involved with Nick Fuentes' brand, it begs the question, what the fuck are these guys doing? They were on the train when it wasn't going anywhere, when it had no steam, and now when it's full fucking steam ahead, making money, making inroads, they're doing this. They're doing the shit that's getting left behind. What is happening here? Why would you do that? The answer is they got off too early. See, they got off the Groiper train earlier, just before it blew up. And now this is kind of their makeup. This is their cover. They said, you know what? This Groiper thing, it's not working out. We're going to go join mainstream conservatism. We're going to go join the mainstream conservative punditry racket. And it just so happens that that investment was horrible, to say the least. Horrible timing, horrible investment. Not only nukes their credibility, but also just nukes their chance at having any kind of meaningful career here, because again, this is the stuff that's on the way out. And so basically what happens is John Doyle, Patrick Casey, these types, they purposely go into mainstream conservative punditry. And now that's obviously dying. Like, it's become a joke. Like, nobody respects that shit. Nobody likes that shit. And yet they enter into the same league as people like Ben Shapiro. And obviously, right now, the mainstream conservative punditry racket is trying to justify just how terrible the Trump administration is, just how clearly duped everyone was by Israel, by pro-Zionist actors, just how philo-Semitic and just completely slopped up this administration is, our government is, and all of the media surrounding it is. And they're no different. And they completely left behind everything that they believed in, completely left behind everything they were doing. And it begs a question, like, someone like a Doyle claimed that he was going into this mainstream racket in order to, like, infiltrate from the inside. But if that were true, clearly they changed him more than he changed them. It begs the question, though, what is this racket? What is the grift? I mean, how does this world work? We have people like Captive Dreamer, like Misfit Patriot, like John Doyle, who all got to where they are for whatever reason. What is the purpose of them being there? What is the racket and what is the game? Because see, little known fact about me, I have a lot of inside baseball on this. I worked in production for several years, and I, Vrilliam, whether it be behind the scenes or a little too on camera.
Will, nice to meet you.
Try to forget about that one around here. I've been around these people, and I know this racket. I know the industry. And so I'm going to give you Vrilliam's inside baseball into the world of conservative punditry. I've said it before, and obviously I think everyone has noted this. There is a de facto civil war occurring in American conservatism, that being between Israel first and America first. But that extends into a bigger question, into a bigger conversation. And really, you could describe it as pro-Trump, like pro-MAGA, pro-neoconservatism, or pro-Fuentes. That's really the only way you can say it, right? And in the clip that we watched, this is who Doyle is speaking about. He's speaking about partisans. This is because someone like a Fuentes, someone like a Tucker Carlson at this point, they are non-partisans. I would honestly call them the non-partisan right. And I would call these guys MAGA partisans. What do I mean by that? I mean that because someone like Fuentes is a free agent and someone like Carlson is a murky agent, I don't actually, that's a whole, I don't even know what the fuck's going on over there with Carlson. I said it on stream the other day. I like what Carlson's saying. I don't know why he's saying it. I like what Tucker's saying. Don't know why he's saying it. I don't know what the interest is there. I'm not gonna fucking comment on it. But he's clearly not a partisan for MAGA, okay? He's clearly not doing what he does for MAGA. And we can see this because he's constantly getting attacked by the people who are partisans for MAGA. And now let me note, again, when I say MAGA, I'm not referring to the sheer concept of making America great again, because that's like fucking obviously not what MAGA, what Donald Trump is doing. If there was a more apt term for what Donald Trump is doing, it'd be something like Gatsjafib, giving America to Zionist Jews for Israel's benefit. And so as free agents, basically, someone like a Fuentes or a Carlson, they're able to interact with the left. They're able to cross lines. And in doing so, they're able to have conversations with nonpartisan left-wing people like one... Ana Kasparian. Oh, Ana, come home. Kids are asking about you. Come home. I love her. But she's a great example of a nonpartisan left-wing type. She's left-wing, but she's not beholden to the interest, money, or status quo line of the DNC. Clearly. And someone like Carlson, I mean, Carlson literally had her on his show to have that conversation specifically regarding Israel, because that is the linchpin point. That is the split. The split begins in Tel Aviv. And the MAGA partisans, the plan trusters, the whatever the fuck you want to call them, they have decided to forego their issues with Israel. Because someone like a Doyle, someone like Patrick Casey, even someone like Captain Dreamer, they're not innately pro-Israel. There is a racket of pro-Zionist, pro-Israel influencers, but they're largely a dying breed. Israel's clearly not pouring money into that field anymore. See, because now the new line to be a moderate towards Israel, philo-Semitism, that's the new line. And so you have people like Captive Dreamer, which, mind you, the name Captive Dreamer comes from a novel written by a French Nazi, let me note that, commenting on his deep love and appreciation for the Jewish people and for Israel, not from like a political perspective or the sort of traditional evangelical Zionist perspective that you saw on the right for so many years. Now it's from this proposed like aristocratic standpoint of, oh, well, if you dislike Israel, that's third world coded, that's brown coded, but us, the enlightened European Gentile, we can admire and respect Israel because we are of a superior mind, just like them. Which, like, first off, gross. Second, no one's buying it. Like, no one's fucking falling for that. It's just like, it's not working, dude. And so this is the contention. And like I said before, I got attacked by Doyle on his show, specifically for, if you remember, a few episodes ago, I did a bit in speaking about the failures of MAGA that I was going to donate my production company's services to whoever's running for Democrat near me, like running for whatever, Congress, I don't know. To which all of these people responded like it was pure heresy. Let me note, as I said before, with all of this inside baseball, there are narratives being constructed. You have to understand. Someone like Doyle, someone like Casey, someone like Capture, someone like any of these fucking people, they're getting their information given to them and they're getting the message and then they're disseminating it across the various platforms. This is how this racket, this circuit works. To understand their racket, you require critical thought, which that's something in short supply in America these days. I think we can all agree on that. And yet, with something like this, a definitive line is being drawn. I said it before, ever since AmFest, the growing divide. People have said that there is, the conservative civil war, and there kind of is, but honestly, I'd say we're really in the build-up to it, or we were in the build-up to it, and now kind of finally kicked off. Really, it's about partisanship. There's one thing that both the left and the right have in common right now, which is a grand splintering. And while something like Israel is a linchpin issue, it is honestly the dividing issue, what it actually creates in terms of a divide is between the dissident and the status quo. Someone like a Fuentes, someone like Carlson, someone like your pal Vrilliam here represents the dissident of conservatism. It represents the dissident faction, meaning it goes against the mainstream. It goes against the status quo. And in doing so, it's more open-minded to new ideas. It's more willing to engage with the other side, or engage with old things, or engage with new ideas, or engage with foreign ideas, and engage with things that traditionally were considered complete no-goes in mainstream conservative fucking status quo politics. And so while it is Israel that kicked off that divide, it's had a domino effect that has created new conversations. A great example is how Tucker Carlson approaches the conversation surrounding Islam. Ever since the Bush era, conservatism and Islam, huge fucking no. Oil and water. See what I did there? Oh my God, I hate my job. It was a complete no-go to have that conversation. And why was that? Obviously, the neoconservatism of that time, they didn't have a fucking problem with foreign people. Islam and conservatism, you were not allowed to have that conversation. And the reason is because we were fighting in Iraq at the behest of Israel. But now, with the creation of this new institutionally empowered dissident right, someone like Carlson, someone like Candace Owens can have that conversation. They can sit down with Muslims and have that conversation, much to the chagrin of the fucking status quo right, of the MAGA partisans, might I add. And by the way, the same exact thing is happening on the left. I mean, the idea that Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks would go on Tucker Carlson's show and have a conversation where they mostly agreed with one another, that, if I said that sentence like 5 years ago, like a complete fantasy. Like, that's just, I would sound insane. And yet it's happened. And it continues to happen in many different forms, because what we have to note here is that the dissidents are creating coalitional politics. Coalitional politics is the idea that we can put aside certain things in our ideology to create a big tent, usually rallying around one issue. I think it's very clear what that one issue is. It's foreign funding for Israel and the influence of foreign governments in our government. And so what's being created here is a big tent coalition. And that represents a problem for partisanship. It represents a big problem for this divide. But what I find very funny is that people like Doyle, like Casey, like Captured, all these assholes, their hyper-partisanship reveals something a little more sinister. It reveals the fact that it's all bullshit. It's bullshit. You know why the American people fucking love seeing Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, Ana Kasparian and Tucker Carlson, Fuentes and whatever brown person he's hanging out with this week? It's because that's real politics. Like, that is how most Americans feel. Most Americans don't want to be divided on partisan lines in such an intense way when there are these gigantic super issues that exist. And the hyper-partisanship of someone like Doyle, of someone like Casey, all it's shown is that he's part of a coalition. He is part of a big tent coalition. Because guess what? Pull up Drew Pavlov. Pull up any of these supposed DNC, supposed liberal adjacent, Democrat adjacent, establishment, status quo speakers, influencers. They're on the same fucking line. The same line on the super issue. And so they're sitting over here going, oh, well, we care about the social stuff and the culture war, and we want the guy with this color tie, and they want the guy with that colored tie, and that means we're different. No, you're not. Because once we get to these super issues like housing, unemployment, H-1B, the fact that foreign funding completely dominates and controls every aspect of our foreign policy and arguably much of our government, those super issues, they completely agree with one another. They have their own coalition. They agree with the status quo line of full support. Full neocon, whatever the fuck you want to call it, globalist, internationalist, cosmopolitan bullshit. And so it notes there are two big tents. We're just setting up our own over here. Over there, they have a big tent and they're trying to convince us that it's two different houses. But we're not falling for that anymore. Clearly, it's a bit like, clearly you guys all know one another and work with one another. We know this from how coordinated all the things you do are. Look at a company like Influenceable. It's nonpartisan. You can be left or right and you can work with them. Look at APAC. Again, they work with both Democrats and Republicans. They have their own big tent. And so what we're doing over here from sort of a populist perspective perspective is making our own big tent, making a big tent surrounding the super issues from the actual America First perspective. Because, let me note, giving all of our shit, giving all of our money and power and sovereignty and stability to Israel is not America First. I don't know if I need to tell you that. You're not going to achieve anything else without that. Giving the last 5 productive jobs that are actually pushing some kind of innovation in this country, giving them to H-1B slaves from India, that's not America First. That's not going to help us. And so people are getting fed up with it, and they're deciding to rally around these ideas to create a big tent coalition. And that's what Vrillium is. If you don't believe me, you're looking at them. I'm part of this grander coalition, whether they want me to be or not. And this is why these people hate me. This is why Doyle feels the need to do a whole bit on me, why Patrick Casey feels the need to tweet at me, why Captive Dreamer feels the need to tweet at me or tweet about me or whatever, fucking X amount of times per month, is because I represent the new animal. That is my goal here. And that's what I've been able to do with the past few videos, from everything that I do with the narrative. Check the comments on this fucking video. You'll see left-wing people, you'll see right-wing people who have all come to a considerable and common consensus. That being that nobody has a monopoly on patriotism, and that the conversations of the past, they can't be resolved. They can't be had unless we address real issues. And so this is why I say that Doyle and all of them, they represent their own big tent. They represent a dying breed, propped up solely by money coming out of that big tent, coming out of Tel Aviv. None of it is representative of the American people in any capacity. Something that I'm sure they're well aware of. I'm sure. And that's why you can see in the clip Doyle literally sweating, because he and all these other people know their time is running out. The era of the uniparty, of the hidden big tent, is starting to fall apart, and we are seeing through it. And as these tents turn into permanent homes, 2 houses stand divided. I have but one question. Whose side are you on? But folks, that is going to do it for us today on this episode of The Narrative. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I mean, come on, we know. God bless you, and God bless America. Until next time.